Didn't mean to cut you off there. All right, folks, welcome on into the Thursday Night Throwdown. Of course, we have a cast of thousands this evening. I've got my pal Tommy in the Guinea Pig Collective. Of course, we've got the Authenticator back in the house. Great to see him.
Hello and good evening on this technically, midnight on a Friday now, but oh well.
Yeah, I was.
It's the witching hour, so I showed up. That's how these things work.
I was a few minutes late, only because, guys, the wizardry behind the scenes. All right, so I had to go and create a thumbnail. I made a thumbnail on the fly, and then hail Christy, what's up? Great to see you. Great to see you, Elagabulus, Godzillionaire, Eric, Jr. Maldonado, Halera. Great to see you. Yeah, but behind the scenes, I was working on that. I had to make sure that I found the right people. I want to get all the invites out. And so, I'm doing all this behind the scenes, and it's getting up against it. And I'm like, oh, well, but we're here. We made it. We're good. Got some good topics tonight. Obviously, we're going to get into Darth Haster. Hail, buddy. We're going to get into Fauci. Obviously, because that's the thumbnail,
ouchie, Fauci.
Ouchie, Fauci for sure. And, hail another monster. Great to see you, my friend. I know I've got links out to a number of guests. I know Nick Weiser will be with us later. Hopefully, Vigilante Williamson as well. I've got links out to both our boys. And of course, I got one out to Wes Moody and the Wes Moody webcast, hoping that at some point he can pop in if he's on. And if Christy, as always, wants to come in, all she has to do is shoot me a DM, and I will send her a link as well, because I like to have a woman's input on things. It's always nice to have balance, because this is kind of the dicks division. There is a lot of swinging dicks on this show, and it is a big sausage party. So sometimes having a woman to break up that monotony is good, but not that there's anything.
If you were looking for a woman's opinion, you probably could have always invited Walton.
Yeah. I actually got a link out to him. I called Steven earlier, and I said, hey, do you want to come on? And he's like, send a link just in case. Sure. So I'm going to send him one.
He's been extremely busy lately.
But and he's on phone internet. So yeah, there's that as well. So we have links out to a cast of thousands, folks, and I've also sent links out to my fellow cohorts over at Bounding into Comics. So either which way, we've got guests invited. So just a matter of seeing who pops in. So that'll be fun. But yeah, hopefully everyone had a great Memorial Day, and the fact that what it was about wasn't lost on people. I'm hoping. Obviously, it was lost on this administration, but I hope everybody enjoyed the time with their families, and also celebrating our amazing.
You know what pissed me off, Drew?
Yes. What's that?
No, my Memorial Day wasn't the greatest in the world. I had bad news and all that stuff. That just seems to be part of the course anymore for me.
Yeah,
but
it's part of the course for a lot of us.
The thing that really got on my nerves recently is when I went on Twitter. It was on Memorial Day, and Mark Hamill, of all people, had the post out there, and
I saw
said
that
shit and making it about something like no. So I had to freaking give a retort to that, and in the end, I called him a bitch, hoping that I would get a response from him.
What
but
did
no,
he say?
He basically he came across with something about how they're trying to steal the White House and everything, talking about, Memorial Day, and they're trying to steal the White House. And I don't remember if he's talking about, I'm not sure if he was talking about how they're trying to change the votes to steal the White House, or if he was talking about the sixth riots at the Capitol.
The conspiracy theory in the largest, most Grand Canyon-sized air quotes I can manage. And incidentally, Mark, if you ever watch this, not that you ever will, but if you ever watch this, would like to remind you of this little niggling little quote that pops into my brain when this whole thing goes on. How liberty dies by thunderous applause.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, that's why we got the ticker tonight. Freedom isn't free. That is true, folks. Just remember that. Also, want to say hello, Scott Jennings of Dick's Division. Hashtag Dick's Division in the house. Crit, what is up, dude? Critable the Crazed is here. Of course, shout out to Zachary Murray. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Awesome, man. I'm very, very, very happy, humbled, overwhelmed. Thank you, folks, for the support. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to do the best job that I can in Comix Division stead, and obviously, our well wishes out to our friend. Hope that he is continuing to recover well from his surgery. Tiki of Doom, hail, buddy. So say we all indeed. All right, so the first thing I'll get into tonight, because this is important, and we are talking a little bit of politics, guys. So I'm just going to pull this up. This is from Breitbart, and Rush Limbaugh called this. By the way, if you go back through the archives of Rush Limbaugh's shows, he called this. He said that there was going to be an effort to eliminate the filibuster. And now, okay, you've got far left groups supposedly coming out saying they signed this letter, and it was sent to, of course, Chucky Schumer. And they said that the filibuster needs to be eliminated in the wake of the Republicans killing off the legislation to create essentially a 9/11 style commission about January 6th. And
you mean left-wing McCarthyism, because that's exactly what it would turn into.
Well, that is essentially what it is. And if they kill the filibuster, well, they pretty much have free reign to do anything, because nothing at that point stands in their way. See, this is all orchestrated and organized. Folks, they killed the filibuster. We're done for.
Well, okay. That's the funny thing, that they want to kill the filibuster now, but they were fine with it before when it worked for them.
Well, yes. Yeah, because principles apparently don't grow on fucking trees, and no one wants to partake of them. But the ironic thing, in my opinion, here is I actually wouldn't mind reforming the filibuster, because, in my opinion, the fact that the filibuster doesn't actually involve any actual filibustering is such bullshit. It used to be, in order to actually filibuster, you had to talk, because that's what to filibuster means. It means to fill the room with talking, such that it obstructs the flow of the procedures and all. Anyone who's seen Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, for example, knows what a filibuster is.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point in the recent history, they just decided, no, you can do an abstract filibuster, and you can just kind of declare that you're filibustering. And I personally think that's a little bit bullshit. Irrespective of anyone's motivation for meddling with the filibuster, I think it should actually involve the act of filibustering, or we should all just, shut the fuck up. It's one of those put up or shut up kind of situations. If you can't actually commit to filibustering and talking such that it obstructs the course of action, or at least do a tag team thing where one person can switch off with another person and then keep it going, then maybe it's not something that should be filibusterable at that point. But that's just my a little bit too literalist interpretation of what a filibuster is supposed to goddamn be. But I digress.
Well, no, I don't think that you're out of line with that, Authenticator, because listen, and before I go on, hail to Southern Belle. Great to see you, my friend. Awesome, and thank you for your support as always. I love some of the comments in here. You guys talk about the ammo, freedom pills. Godzillionaire says that's awesome. Scott just finished reloading 200 rounds 12 gauge. Nice, 300 more to go. Great, there you go, buddy. There you go. Hail Jay Lee, great to see you. But and hail Parrothead, great to see you, my friend. Here's the thing with the filibuster. Again, this was called by Rush Limbaugh, and it's always used as a tool to benefit either side. And Authenticator's not wrong about that. It's used in essentially the incorrect way. It's just used as a cheap block. But still, you take away that cheap block, well, you're going to have policy rampant one way or the other.
We still need a filibuster, for the record. If anyone is confused as to what my position is, I think we should have a filibuster. I just think it's a little bit lazy and a little bit of a cop-out to not actually require the action of filibustering when you filibuster.
It's used in a lazy way. Let's be real about that. I don't think anybody, any common sense American that follows politics, and listen. We may lean one way or the other, folks, in this chat. Some of us, and a lot of us are middle, and we kind of hold sort of liberal values on some things, sort of conservative values on others. Okay, but looking at it through a common sense lens, yes, the filibuster is most definitely needed, but the issue here is that, again, it's just being used in a lazy way. And kudos to Rush Limbaugh, because like I said, he was out in front of this. He called us on his show months and months and months ago that this was going to happen. That, the Democrats most certainly were going to take the filibuster power out of the Republicans' hands by urging that it be killed altogether. And that is essentially what's going on here with these lobbyist groups picking up on that, so then they could turn around and say, "See, it's just normal citizens that want this. It's not us."
And then wait another political cycle and see if they want to if they want to completely invert that position to, we need the filibuster because otherwise Trump or the next successor to Trump or whomever is going to engage in fascism. I'm waiting for it. Hear me now, quote me later.
Yeah. Keck 44, hail, my friend. Howdy, Dix, he says. Darius Munchausen, what's up, Darius? Great to see you this evening, man. He says, hail at Supreme Heretic. Hail to you, sir. Dexy Doodle, the badge card of Dick's Division, reporting for duty. Dexy Doodle, much love. Thank you so much. You are awesome. We were just talking about the filibuster before you came in, Dexy. We were looking at an article where they were discussing, there were some lobbyist groups, far left lobbyist groups, sending a letter to Uncle Chucky saying that they want, urging him to urge the rest of Congress to kill the filibuster.
Well, Drew, there was something else, and this was some months ago. I don't know if you had caught it or not, but when they first started talking about they wanted to try to destroy the filibuster, they had a lot of people that actually from their own party that went up against them. One of the people that actually surprised me that said no to the filibuster was freaking Pelosi.
Yeah. I was surprised by that, because Aunt Nancy, she's pretty crazy too. And
the thing there is the establishment wing of the Democrats hate their base with a fiery passion that burns like 1,000 suns, and that's I think the main reason why Nancy Pelosi remembered that she existed for 5 seconds, because she knows that if she does this, if she gets rid of the filibuster, the policies that are going to be advanced are going to be more along the lines of your Bernie Sanders, your O'Connors, and God forbid your AOCs, more so than they are going to be her and Schumer's stick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's more about protecting the establishment decorum and the aristocracy than it is about actually being left wing for 5 seconds.
All right, now we can kind of move. I wanted to just start in with that discussion because I find that kind of fascinating. Ganon, Mario, and Cookies R Us. Hail the chat. Hail Drew. Thanks, buddy. Great to see you. 32 Flavors. And Nick Weiser is here. I know he's doing the X-Files thing on the other channel, and he will be over here with us as soon as he's finished up there. So, all right. So we're going to talk about this now, which was, Mike. I just took this article because Mike Pompeo had been talking about it on Fox, but evidence was piling up for the Wuhan lab theory by May, and listen, it shouldn't be. The Fauci email leak should not surprise anyone from the standpoint of, we knew all you had to do was have perfectly working common sense, and you knew, putting 2 and 2 together, where this whole thing started. Now,
yeah, but you're not allowed to do the math unless the math has been submitted in triplicate, because we basically live in a society run by Vogons.
Come on now. Why are you bringing up math now? Now you know math is racist. Stop that.
Tommy, I see what you did there.
There are 4 lights. God damn it!
But the thing about this is, I think a lot of us knew deep down when that it was too much of a coincidence that lab was in the same city, that it just so happened to the wet market was right down the street. And I never bought into the wet market theory. I'm like, BS. Okay, there's 2 ways this went down. Either somebody was horribly negligent and let a contagion get out under their watch because somebody was off not doing their job, or it was done on purpose and it was launched as a not soft because it affected the whole world. It was launched as a bio attack.
I think personally, for me, it's probably option 1 there, just because I think that if it were option 2, it would be more effective. Now, granted, it's very possible they might have been building a super bug and they just let one out before they were finished, or it accidentally got out before they were finished, because let's face it, the competence threshold of your average communist regime is not high. Look only at Chernobyl to determine how competent communists are at planning anything in any given length of time. But I think it's probably more just they were researching a virus, or maybe they were even researching SARS and how SARS worked, and then one got out. Now, granted, there is the other thing of, irregardless of whether it came from the wet markets or not, I don't think the wet markets helped anything, because that just is it's throwing a virus into a petri dish of animalistic offal, basically, and expecting it not to go horribly wrong.
it exacerbated the process, that's for sure. But the thing is, look, as Godzillionaire says here, the beauty of the Fauci emails is they were obtained via FOIA request, thus totally legit and legal. So big tech can't suppress it from being leaked or hacked. That is very, very true, sir. Very good observation on that. Hail, Hedy Lamarr. Great to see you. Man, the women are representing tonight between Hedy and Dexy and Southern Belle. Man, we got to cast the thousands here. You know, yeah, Christy's up in here still lurking and modding. So she's pulling double duty tonight. So props to her, and the guys are holding it down as well. Man, we got a nice audience. But as we were talking about the Fauci emails, they do show. Now listen, this guy was involved with this lab, and this goes back to the Obama administration. You know, they were doing risky research there, and he was. You know, he was helping donate and, you know, whether it was money, time, whatever, to it. So Fauci knew one way or the other about this. So to me, okay, if you're going to look at, if we're going to assess blame, all right, and start to try to hold people accountable, I think that you really need to, I don't want to say arrest this guy, but there needs to be an investigation. I agree with President Trump. He's gone on the record already, folks, as saying the man should be investigated. When the emails drop, you know, he made
maybe in the next administration he might be, assuming that Trump or a Trump surrogate gets in there. But not, or God forbid, a Tulsi or a Yang, they might do it too because they don't really care about the establishment decorum or anything. But as long as it's milquetoast establishment candidate in there, or the ghost of one in the case of Biden, yeah, this is he's basically going to get the Epstein treatment right up until the evidence was undeniable. And then he's probably going to get the other Epstein treatment where the evidence does become undeniable.
Hail, crazy cat guy! Great to see you, my friend. I just want to ask you guys to throw this question out there for the chat. Is it, or am I not out of line thinking that Fauci is complicit here? When clearly it shows that he was involved in some form or fashion with that lab. To me, that screams that you're complicit with this whole thing to begin with. And if we start to hold people accountable, then that could equate to a criminal investigation. Am I wrong?
Well, Drew, you know what? Even if you take that aside, right? Even if you take his knowledge of where the virus came from and everything that went into that virus to make it happen, whether it was in the lab or whether they claim it was from some other source, the fact that this man went on the record multiple times and swore up and down he knew what was best for the country and for the world, and that they needed to mask up and that they needed the vaccine because this is the only way to stop it. Then he turns around.
No, none of that works. Never mind.
Then he turns around and he comes out and says, well, we can't guarantee that these vaccines are going to keep you from catching it. We can't guarantee your safety if you get a vaccine. That alone warrants an investigation because he's telling people this is the head of the CDC. This is somebody, who's in charge. Somebody like that needs to be held accountable for this kind of shit. If they're just talking things and they don't know what they're talking about and they're putting people's health at risk because they don't have all the answers. He should have gotten all the answers and he failed to do it. He refused to listen to all the doctors that were out there in the field working with real people in real hospitals. He failed to do that. He got his own little narrative. He got his marching orders from his side of the freaking fence, and that's what he ran with and refused to listen or do anything else but that.
But see, this is entirely the problem. His job wasn't as a medical professional. His job was as the the doctor are you seeing on all the medical commercials saying this medicine is 100% safe right up until it isn't. It's one of those situations. It's not actually deferring to the substance of medicine as a field. It's deferring to the authority of medicine as an idea, and therein lies the problem.
All right, let me contribute some stuff to this statement. All right, so I had dating back to when I heard about this fucking asshole Fauci, I had my suspicions of him, but I knew my suspicions were confirmed the day it was I was watching a live stream and he was talking with Jim Jordan. And and then Fauci's like, if you go outside to weddings, this is bad. This is very bad and scary. And then all of a sudden, and then Jim Jordan's like, and then he's like, no. And then Jim was like, well, what about the protest? He's like, I fail to see how that's relevant to the question. It was like, bro,
God,
really?
That was the exact moment where the cognitive dissonance hit him.
That's the most relevant question. This guy is going out and saying that 50 people gathering for a small wedding is bad, but somehow 30,000 people violating the social distancing or going out around rioting is somehow fine, and he says that's not relevant. That's when I knew this guy was fucking compromised. This guy is madly compromised. This guy bends over for someone who I don't know, but he's got his loop saved up his asshole for somebody.
Well, you know what's funny, guys, is Rand Paul has taken this guy to task many times.
Oh, I know.
Absolutely,
my favorite Republican.
Absolutely exposed this guy multiple occasions. I want to get to some of the comments in the chat real quick because chat's on fire right now. Hetty says he lied before Congress. Yes, he absolutely did. And again, Rand Paul exposed that. Let's see.
Is the screen blinking for anyone else, or is that just on my end?
I think that might be on your end. I'm good here. Yeah. 70s rock fan says Fauci will get a Medal of Freedom, a tribute at the Kennedy Center, and a fat job at the UN. Yeah, that's where they like to put the globalist 70s, so I wouldn't doubt it because, he is 100% a globalist through and through. Parrothead says Kuckerberg is in on it. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Crit says actually death via vaccine would be justifiable. Yeah, for him. Darius Munchausen says Fauci is so guilty. I'm surprised the police haven't chased him in a white Bronco.
Nice.
And that's the thing. He's a bureaucrat. These people are all in on it together. They protect each other and they will look out for each other up until a point where it's undeniable where they can't contain it anymore. They're all in it together. As long as they have that power, once again, the media perception. Look at all those undeniable pieces of email evidence, and yet still somehow CNN had to bring back but Orange Man. And next before you know it, Fauci's like, if you stop brushing your teeth and then you keep it that way and stop flossing, this will save lives.
Because the aristocracy operates by a different set of rules. They operate by decorum. We're supposed to be the ones that operate by law.
Oh, yeah.
But heaven forfend you violate the aristocratic decorum. You violate the decorum and then heads roll. Literally.
Godzilla, yeah, and speaking of that, Godzillionaire says, breaking news, after emails from Fauci to Hillary were revealed, Fauci found dead with 3 self-infliction gunshot wounds to the back of the head.
How likely is that? I mean, everyone relied on Jeffrey Epstein to basically be the numbers guy and the connections guy for decades, and then he was like, well, actually, I have all this evidence that I've been saving up on you all, and then things happened. We can't talk about the things that happened because he totally actually killed himself, honest guys, but things definitely happened.
Well, here's a doctor I actually trust, Dr. Adega. I will take Adega's medical opinion over a lot of people's, and most definitely I will take Adega's medical opinion over Anthony Fauci's any day of the week.
Well, Drew, I got some sad news for you. Odega actually he likes to prescribe patients 48 ounces of Waltons twice a week. So,
oh, you guys with that.
Oh, God,
The new shark cartilage.
Oh man, Southern Bell points out Fauci's history. He screwed over AIDS
Yeah,
patients
it's
in the
'cause he
80s. Yes,
did.
he did. Yeah,
Look
he
up
did.
Larry Kramer. Look up Larry Kramer. Larry Kramer
Mhm.
was a gay activist. He had a vendetta against Fauci because people were literally protesting, saying, "You are killing us. You are hurting us." And the gays did not like Fauci. They did not like him at all. They said he was hurting. I don't know if he ever literally said it, but there was definitely some paraphrasing along the lines of, if you shake hands with a gay man, you might get AIDS, which is absolutely asinine. And it shows you once again how quickly we forget, how quickly people forget when they
I
needed to
didn't know
benefit
that,
their
and
decision.
I'm genuinely, I didn't think I could find new levels of pissed off with Fauci, but yay and behold, as the gay one on this live stream, I have now found new reasons to be pissed off with Fauci.
Like I said, that was not, I don't know if that was
Fauci.
literal, but it was at the very least, it was a paraphrasing. At the least, a paraphrasing.
Tiki Doom points out Bill Gates is being canceled now too, and couldn't happen to a better guy. He's a globalist. He is 100% an asshole, and this is the same guy that told you, oh, it wouldn't be bad, if a good 50% of the population would die. No big. I mean, yeah, Bill Gates is like as evil as they come.
Yeah, unless you happen to be part of the 50% there, Bill.
Yeah,
but glad to see we all curry your concern so much.
Well, wouldn't you say that you could actually relate Bill and his mentality to that of Thanos?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that sounds very thin. Here's what I'm wondering now.
But
okay,
Thanos actually had something resembling a point. Bill Gates just did it because the unwashed masses are annoying him.
Yeah.
My whole
that depends on what Thanos you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about the original Thanos
if
from the comic
we're
books,
talking about death, love struck death, humping Thanos, then even he has more of a point than Bill Gates does, because at least he was doing it for love. And movie Thanos actually had like a decent philosophical point. So
strictly philosophical. Now here's my thing. So when Twitter and Facebook, Google, yada yada, were doing all their censorship, saying this is misinformation, so are they gonna bring back all those videos and posts that they censor the fuck out of, and then do they get to get penalized for being the ones who did the misinformation? Of course not.
Reasons.
They won't, because they're going to say that they were in the right. They felt that they were in the right, and they apologize for any inconvenience, and they figure by making a statement like that, it takes them off the hook. So that's
and it shouldn't. That's the thing. Once again, people forget quickly. They're looking now. Here's the thing, guys. Now remember this. You, the panel in the chat. These guys, the legacy media, within the next few days, maybe in the next week or two, they're going to try very, very hard to get you to forget this. They're going to look for any little thing. It'll probably be some cop thing with an incident. They're going to try to find something that they can blow up so they can make you forget about this. So they're going to fight tooth and nail to make that. So don't you let them forget this.
Here's the thing. The argument they will make is that they were in the right to censor everyone who was saying the true thing because they didn't have evidence that the thing they were saying was true. Whereas now, because they vetted it, because the powers that be have vetted it, and they have the evidence, quote unquote, that means they're right, but the people who were speculating without evidence are still wrong, because basically scientism, because the authority of science is actually more important than the actual truth of the statements or not. According to
I wouldn't be surprised if they even go so far as to say, well, somebody made a good educated opinion and we can't fault them on that. Now, if somebody else made an educated opinion that they're wrong, well, we have to censor them. But if the right side makes that educated opinion, it's okay.
Once it's been vetted by the authorities, because that's all that matters really in these people's minds is authority.
It's funny. I want to point out Hetty's comment because she's right on point. She's pretty based. She said Dr. Judy Mikovits was ripped off by Fauci. Apparently, he's used a lot of her theories and opinions to gain credibility on his own. I see you guys kind of talking about the side discussion about LeBron. It's funny. I call to tie that together for a second. I call LeBron James, and believe me, I live here in Greater Cleveland, so I'm intimately familiar with LeBron. And let me tell you, I call him the Anthony Fauci of basketball. You know, he's so disingenuous. He is so disingenuous. But back to this, yeah. Hetty's definitely on to something. I've heard about that. I think they went so far to try to discredit Dr. Mikovits because Fauci was trying to take the credit all on his own. 70s rock fan says Bill Gates, medical expert, climatologist. Yeah, dude, this is literally in a TED talk. Bill Gates made that comment. It was ridiculous. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted us locked down all of this year too. Yeah, that absolutely. Yeah. Parrot Head, I'll share what you sent me on Twitter in a second, because it's pretty interesting. Kabuto Rider Mavs in the chat, aka Spencer Cooley from Bounding into Comics, our assistant editor, great person, and one of my pals. Great to see Spencer in the chat. Let's see. Fauci had to testify before Congress in the 80s. Very eye-opening. Yeah, I recall that, Southern Belle. The thing that sticks out in my head, though, about the 80s, because obviously I was a kid back then. The thing that I remember, I think, in the sort of political world was more the PMRC hearings, if you guys remember those, and the all those some music artists and celebrities.
Yeah. Oh God, you know what? That was so much fun too when John Denver got up there and just like destroyed their minds.
John Denver, oh man, John Denver was based, bro. He like totally tore things up, man. Yeah, that was. If you can go back and actually watch those, anybody that enjoys history, anything like that, go back and watch those hearings from the 80s. Those are very, very interesting. But yeah, I will definitely have to look up Fauci stuff testifying before Congress in the 80s. Southern Belle, thank you for pointing that out. Absolutely. Wow. Let's see. Let me go ahead and share this thing that Parrot had sent me on the product.
Parrot Head.
And thankfully it's shareable. Just want to make sure here. But it's a funny little meme that he said. It's pretty awesome. So let's see here. It's got Hillary passing Fauci a note. He said should have deleted them. Nice.
Right. Oh yeah. I think I saw someone post that a lot. Now here's what annoys me about all these hearings with Fauci. Nothing has been done. It just feels more like endless BS political theater. Like they talk about it's like, we're gonna do something. We're gonna do something. You need to say something, Fauci. It's just like, guys, just get rid of him already. Talking is not accomplishing anything. Oh, I know they're not. But it's like what Ripa said. And here's a problem. Here's a problem. Like, as much as I love Rand Paul, and it's not his fault this has happened, but the group that he works with, aka his side, a lot of them are just people. They're as Ripa said, they're progressives that go a speed limit. They kind of just like look there, say stop, Stop right there. That's bad. Okay, you can go. You can go do your bad deed now. They do the bare minimum for the job, and all these people are still all there. Like it's like Rand Paul is like fighting a one man like war against us.
Yeah,
And
it's why
his
he's,
people
it's
aren't
why he's
effective.
basically the only Republican that I actually like.
Obviously,
Well,
Ron
here-
DeSantis is in Florida doing things, but the thing is, like, the few guys that are very effective is very insignificant, and these guys are like they're actually smart guys. They actually understand things, but the problem is there's not enough of them. There is a very insignificant portion of them. We
Well,
need more guys with a backbone like that.
Well, they still got to play the game.
Because no matter if you're Democrat or Republican, right or left in DC, you're part of the establishment, and nobody
Yes.
wants to speak ill of the establishment. It's like I've made this point a few times before, but I'm going to make it again because it keeps coming up. These people are the new aristocracy. That's what they want to be. That's what they think they are. That is exactly what they are.
100% class warfare.
And the ironic thing is, the old aristocracy was actually better than this new one, because at least the old aristocracy gave a shit about things like meritocracy and the concept of noblesse oblige, i.e. the obligations of the nobility. If you were a noble back in the day, you actually had a duty in your own mind to become a well-rounded, well-reasoned, well-educated human being. You had an obligation to become what Cicero called the new man, or what Machiavelli and Balthazar Castiglione called a proper noble. But now it's all the same pomp and circumstance, all the decorum, all the authority, all the weight, but none of the actual substance, none of the actual skills, none of the actual obligations, all of the decorum, none of the substance.
I can't. I'm sorry. Authenticated.
I don't know if he's 28 Days Later, directed by Fauci. No, here's a funny meme. I'm not sure if you guys saw it. It said, who would win in a debate, Fauci 2020 versus Fauci 2021? I'm like, oh, that's a good one.
You know,
No one.
Honestly, what Authenticator is saying though, the class warfare is real, and this is how a lot of the swamp rats, the Washington swamp, views the average citizen. They view us as disposable peasants.
Oh yeah,
and that is and that's a serious issue. That's disconnect here. Tehila, good to see you, my friend. That's the problem, and man, we need, and Jack Posobiec has said this so many times. Shout out to Jack. We love Jack.
He was on Tim Pool last night. I caught the replay of that.
Yeah, really he's a good friend of Bounding into Comics. We've talked.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, we've talked to. We've talked to him before, had him on Bounding Live before. Good dude. But here's the important thing that Jack brings up, and that is that we need to hire populist candidates, folks. We need to get populist candidates out there in the forefront, because we need populist energy, and not just in the Republican Party. It needs to be in both parties.
Oh yeah.
The Democrats. What happened with the Democratic Party? And I was explaining this to my mom because she didn't quite understand. My mom was a lifelong Democrat for many years. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now she feels as if she's politically homeless because they don't like people like her. Mm-hmm. And I said, Mom, you make too much sense. You're too rooted in traditional values. That they don't want that.
You're a peasant, basically, is the problem.
Yeah. And here's the thing. They had all these globalists, all these fascists come in, take over, and they couldn't get the job done and completely affect an entire takeover of the Republican Party, so they just did it in the Democrat Party. and they it was fast. It happened quickly. It happened really under everybody's nose, and now we're paying the price for it. But the thing is that we need to get that populist energy back on both sides.
Yeah,
and that has to happen, because we need people that are people like us that can move up into a political seat and understand the struggle of the citizen on the street.
Yeah.
And we don't have that, and we don't have the willingness to understand that, and that is what's needed.
Well, you know what the problem, Drew, is I don't think you can ever truly have that, because even if you have somebody come in that understands the normal everyday person that's on the street, once they get into office and they get into that life, they're going to lose that perspective.
But here's the funny thing about that. Most of the founding fathers, the founders that we all love, were landowning, basically gentry over here in the colonies. Benjamin Franklin was the postmaster and a diplomat that went all over the world and into France and what have you. Thomas Jefferson was the most well-read and cultured person probably in the entire colonies at that point. And yet somehow they all made it work because they had the right philosophical background, which was, the Enlightenment era of, actual liberalism. The problem here is not just the people. The problem is the ideas and the culture involved is the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can tell you small time why that happened. You know why DNC aligns itself so much with megacorps. They will take money by hook or by crook. They don't ask, they don't tell, they don't care where it comes from. They just absolutely will accept it, and it's so easy to do on the back of all of these modern day quote programs and pushes for social justice, so on and so forth. There's a nice tidy money laundering operation across this whole setup.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. If you look at the number, the ultra 1%, like the absolute elite, almost all of them, if not all of them, vote Democrat. It's funny because this was once that party of the little guy, but now they're the party of the elite. They're the party of the globalists. So if people don't actually look at who are the elite voting for, then, and especially with all the corporate backings, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Twitter, they're all backing this far left ideology. And yet these people want to try to convince you that you're the like oppressive side. It's like, dude, your idea is the mainstream ideology. You are getting played by your own ideology that you're trying to please. You're getting played.
It's the zeitgeist of the aristocracy. It's basically the Marie Antoinette thing all over again.
Yes.
Well,
we go to Marie Antoinette and say, I'm sorry, milady, but the peasants are starving. They have no bread. And she goes, let them eat cake. This is exactly that whole thing. Because they don't understand their people. They only know that they're supposed to. And so their views on who you are and what you think must be the correct ones because they're the educated ones and they're the aristocratic ones. So you can't possibly know your own destiny better than they do because you're such a plebeian, you're such a pleb that they don't need to consider your opinions. And this is where the problem comes from. This is where the champagne socialism thing comes in. They think they understand your brain better than you do. So when you have a counter argument to them, they dismiss it on the grounds that you don't know your own, you don't know what's for your own good. You don't know what's actually good for you. You have to become educated like I do in order to understand what's actually good for you. I'm only looking out for your best interest. ... Genocide.
Okay, I want to real quick because I got I got some, well, I guess super chats here, but you know, on my
check
stream
them.
on my Stream Elements page, Godzillionaire says, "Props for the Lady Death background. I've somehow failed to notice it until now." Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Lady Death. You know, Brian Pulido, the origins of Lady Death from the Chaos Comics days, Evil Ernie. Really enjoyed the independent stuff, so that was awesome, and it's still going now, man. Coffin Comics with Lady Death, but one of my all-time favorite comic book characters, to be sure. Dexy Doodle tips 498. She says, "Keep it up, Drew. This poor Kiwi learned so much from you guys. XOXOXO. Same to you." You know, we're just trying to have discussions that reflect what's going on out there, because it's important. The more that we talk about this, the more that we discuss it, and the more we keep it real, the less likely it is for the powers that be, the mainstream media, you know, listen, they're not going to be able to pull the wool over your eyes if your eyes are open and your friends and neighbors are like-minded. It's not going to happen, you know. So that's why it's so important that we do what we do, and we have these conversations. Now, I know that you know, Small Time was agreeing with the 70s rock band. He said they are intertwined, to be sure. Stories by Irish. Hello, great to see you, my friend.
Yeah, I know Stories by Irish.
Yeah.
I was using it as an example and a metaphor more so than a literal historical anecdote.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't put your boots up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Oh man, I would have loved to have been that guy. If that guy wouldn't have done it, I wish I could have done it. I wish you know, they thinking back on it, it's like, damn, did I really have to go and end my stream when I did when I was there that day? But you know, honestly, I am lucky I got out of there before all the stuff went down. Hail to Bruce Lombardo, my compadre. Bruce, we really need to catch up and chit chat sometime soon and do some gaming. Stone Logie, aka Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Hail, my friend. Skull!
He has some very fun morning streams. I've listened to him a few times on my way to work.
Great.
So, hey, Drew, one of the things I wanted to touch on when you were actually talking about these corporations, like, I don't know if you guys have missed some of that, but, you know, a lot of these corporations, yeah, they donate to a lot to the left, but it's not always the case. Some of these corporations actually donate to both sides. And that's why when things happen, when the Democrats don't like the way certain things are going, that's why they come down on these corporations. Hence why you had the problem with Amazon in New York, where they were going to get like taxed out of existence. And they're talking about they wanted to try to move their home headquarters out of New York. Well, that's because they were playing both sides of the field.
This is exactly why culture wars are actually important, because to them it doesn't really matter what the policies and the financials are at the end of the day, because they don't have to worry about it. Everyone else has to worry about it, but they don't know that and they don't care enough to know that.
God, Tommy, you dropped a black pill, bro. I love it, because you know you were absolutely 100% right. So many times they play both ends against the middle, and it's always the same people that do it. It's the corrupt people on the Republican side. It's the corrupt people in the Democrat Party. They play both ends against the middle.
Yeah, and because they don't care about the outcomes as long as the establishment decorum is maintained. That's why things that happen culturally piss them off more than things that happen IRL, because in their minds, because they don't have to worry about pragmatic or practical concerns, culture is the most important thing. Yeah, and so they occupy it. Bruce, like freaking paratroopers.
Bruce makes an awesome point. We didn't storm Congress. It is our house. We paid for everything in there. Do not let them try to say it's a sacred place. It is a public house.
Ooh. I agree with the first half of that
It's not
part, but the part of the whole sacred place, I'm going to have to disagree because that is, as I responded in my comments, that is a cathedral of criminals. Is a cathedral of criminals. Not that building is run by corrupt individuals, and the fact that they all get away with their shit on a legal daily basis pisses me off. Just because they're a politician.
That is exactly why Thomas Jefferson changed the word "sacred," which was in his original draft of the Declaration of Independence, to self-evident when he was describing human rights, because he didn't want to tie it to authority, decorum, and religion. He wanted to tie it to simple, basic, fundamental logic. Why the changeover happened from "we hold these truths to be sacred" to "we hold these truths to be self-evident."
Oh man, Toxic Man Flu earlier tipped $25. Says hail Drew, hashtag beware the Drew. The chat is killing it. The panel is awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Dick's Division meets the Badge Guard for explosive friction. Love it, dude.
That's true. We got the Badge Guard. Yeah, Dexy Doodle's part of the Badge Guard. Her, the Islington girl. She's a Badge Guard. Yeah, no, we appreciate the Badge Guard.
Absolutely. Fauci, Dixie is Dick Chowson tip $2. And Fauci quote, "2 can do what Wuhan flu thought or that you do," something like that. It was great. I butchered that, but yeah, it was funny as could be. But thank you so much for the $2. Appreciate the support, guys. Again, it's always appreciated, never required. I'm very happy just that everybody's hanging out. I get to spend late Thursday evening with the most awesome men and women here on YouTube. So I'm very happy about that. And all the support donations and things that go, they do help the channel, but more importantly, it does help what's going on with mom and things like that. So you really are helping, and I truly appreciate it, and God bless. But getting back to what we were talking about. Speaking of hypocritical people, boy, does anybody? So I'm sure everybody remembers the OK Boomer girl, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, Nico Lull, the OK Boomer girl, she totally went full capitalist because she got herself a $2 million apartment and decides, okay, I'm going to post it on Twitter. Look at my $2 million apartment tour, my new apartment. And people just absolutely ripped her for it, and rightly so, because this woman was coming out saying, the evils of capitalism, and we need to tax the rich, blah 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 blah.
Yep. But again, this is a case of cognitive dissonance. They don't actually think about the implications of their beliefs.
No, they don't. They think of it's all short term thinking, and then once the shit backfires, oh boy, how did that happen? Well, you advocate for that shit with your short term thinking.
Yeah, they understand that they should dislike the rich on principle in the abstract, but they don't put two and two together of them having money makes them wealthy in any meaningful sense.
Well, listen, the thing with the OK Boomer girl, chicks like Nico Lull. All right, these are the chicks that are all over Twitch. All right, they're all over TikTok. They're all over Instagram. You know, these are the same chicks that'll sit there and you know, they'll be like, you know, come check out my hot tub stream, or come and check out my OnlyFans, you know, and an army of simps will go over there and, of course, make them rich for that day. And hail, Stone Cold Jeremy. I know you stopped in earlier, man. Hail, buddy. Great to see you. Yeah, it's just a never-ending cycle with these types of chicks. But, you know, Nico Lol is the same thing. She might not be on Twitch, but she's 100% a Twitch thought. Same difference. She's just trying to make it.
The power of gynocentrism compels you.
Yeah. Stone Culture, more like full capitalist. Yeah. There's like so many dudes and it's like, look, you know, if you partake in, like, if you're a guy that partakes in, like, I don't know, calling up your buddies, going to gentlemen's club, or you know, maybe you partake in the services of a professional or whatever. Okay, I get it, but better you spend your money on that. Granted, you know, the things you may catch, but better you spend your money on that than give it to these e-girls that are blatantly trying to part you from your money for nothing. There's no service in it for you. You are giving them free money. Stop.
Yep, women are not worth it. As a in general.
Listen, I would not say that. If there's plenty of female content creators out there, you know, whether it be game streamers, whether it be people here on YouTube, that if they have good content, I'm very happy to toss.
Right. No, that's not what I was getting at. I was saying the concept of woman is not worth it, because that's the thing. We are, whether anyone likes it or not, animals, and instinctually we gravitate towards women because they are the nurturers and they are the progenitors of the next generation. And what feminism and hookup culture and all this other shite has done with that impulse is created this idea of the concept of womanhood itself, or woman is sacred, and women as a concept are not worth it. You need to judge. You need to judge women as you would judge anyone else. Judge women as people rather than as avatars of women. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Godzillionaire says, I disagree. The concept of woman can be well worth it.
Well, yeah, if she's the right lady, absolutely.
Darius Butch out of the Dix division. I know a cam girl. It's very addictive work just watching the money roll in every second. Well, if you also have a front row seat to see what she's doing, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But, you know, because you're not on the other end being one of the pay pigs. But the thing is, you know, it's, you know, and thank you, by the way, to Tommy for being here. I didn't get a chance to properly outro him, and that's because his phone was like overheating. But yeah, you know, thanks to him being here for as long as he was. But yeah, the thing is with this whole thing, you need to be discerning with your dollars. You know, I have no problem supporting content creators that are putting out good, earnest, actual content.
Yeah, engage the frontal lobe. Is the main point. Don't let your instincts just. You're like, ooh, woman, therefore money.
I don't feel like tipping cheap TNA. I'm gonna go, and if I'm gonna see cheap TNA, I'm gonna go to the Gentleman's Club. I don't know, and just at least that way, hey, I may get to motorboat it.
I'm this way, all right. I'm a full blown, outspoken, unapologetic capitalist. I mean, I don't spend my money on those type of things, but hey, if you want to do that, it's your money. You make the most of your situation as long as you're getting a satisfaction, whether it's figurative, literal, or sexual.
Agreed.
Enjoy your life, man. Get your freak on to the best of your motherfucking ability. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, and there is this other thing. I don't think we should necessarily entirely blame The Sims, because a lot of these people are very, very lonely, very, very desperate people, and this is the only vector they have, or at least they think they have, for human contact.
Yeah, but they're being so taken advantage of, because like a lot of these chicks, man, especially the girls on Twitch, and I've seen it happen because I was on Twitch before I ever came to YouTube, and I watched the evolution of the platform just turn into pretty much a softcore site now. It's what it is. It's
right, but that's what I'm saying. I put the fault more towards the woman herself for taking advantage of those broken, fragile men. And the thing is, I think a lot of these cam girls probably also will like contemptuously use the word incel as though that's like 90% of their user base.
Take care, Eddie. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening.
I'm gonna go simping on. I mean, if you're gonna talk like Zers, I'm going to blame it a lot on men and women in general, because they've grown up with the internet without a world not knowing what it was, because they're afraid of getting shut down in person. Like, I still come from a path where it wasn't until probably around when I was a senior in high school that people started trying to like approach each other as a thing. Dude, of hooking up online. Bro, well, hold on. But I had seen people get turned down left and right in person all the time throughout my middle and high school life. But then, right around 18, 19, as I didn't go to university, but that's when I started, people like, whether it was my age or older, started like getting into the online dating thing a lot more, or people even just finding someone on MySpace at that, because when I was 18, MySpace is the thing. But nowadays, everyone wants to hide behind the screen, and they don't feel as bad if they get turned down online, because they can just look for the next thing, whereas if they're in person, they feel awful about getting turned down in person. Like, it shuns, and they don't know that experiences, or at least the bulk of them do. I don't want to say all of them don't, because if I say that,
I'm going to say a lot of people.
I'm just going to say a lot of them
feel depressed when they get turned down online.
Oh, Tiki and Doom, bring it back to
aim. Cowabunga, bro. Cowabunga.
Oh man, Tiki and Doom bringing it back in the day. But look, I come from that generation of, get together with your buddies and go out, see if you can get some phone numbers. It was all about that. I have no qualms about, when I'm sitting in the middle of a bar or whatever. If I see an attractive woman, I will go shoot my shot. I don't care. What's the worst?
You don't care. You get it.
What's he gonna do? Say, hey man, I'm with somebody, or I'm not interested, whatever. Hey, any number of things can happen, and if I get shot down, I get shot down. But at least I shot the shot. But also, at least it's like face to face.
Yes, I know. Face to face is far more effective, Drew. That's the thing. You can take the heat. A lot of these people can't. That's the difference, man.
Well, I think what a lot of what it is again getting back to what I was saying earlier about the worship of women as though they're not.
I'm gonna grab something to drink,
like mortal beings, and that's why a lot of people feel like insecure about asking women out and stuff. Is because we've grown up in this culture that's like, women are perfect, women are glorious, women are basically goddesses. And so when you, a lowly human being that has, thoughts and feelings and, human flaws, tries to
Mhm.
proposition a woman, some part of you in the back of your mind is thinking, you don't deserve to talk to this woman, therefore they don't. And then,
Yeah, that's a
with
contributing factor, dude. I will agree. I wouldn't say it's like a main cause, but that is a giant contributing factor. There are more factors. One of them is that one, but another one. Here's the thing: you also have to factor in. We're in the age of like the Me Too's and stuff. Guys like even Henry Cavill were single for the longest time because they was just like, well, what if I blink at a girl, like wink an eye, and they're just gonna say I was this rotten human being on the internet? They don't want to deal with crap like that. So guys are like not approaching women as much. I mean, once again, that's not the main tribute out. These are all additional symptoms on top of symptoms on top of symptoms. Now, here's one thing that guys are. I would say this is the one aspect that a guy could be guilty of. I think a guys, at least ones who are not afraid to be shut down in person, or at least who are, they need to think to themselves, what if the girl you like, or if you want for you, Authenticator, let's just say there's a guy you like. What if they're afraid of asking you out? You never know, man. Sometimes you gotta throw the pendulum back the other way and think, what if they're afraid to ask you? That way you put the ball in your court.
The other thing, of course, is that women are almost universally expected to be the ones rejecting or accepting proposition rather than doing the propositioning.
Oh yeah, and that's fine. And I know that's what is considered the societal norm, but that's why it's cool to just go against the societal norm a little.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I totally agree. I would love to live in a world where men and women were equally expected to both accept or to make propositions depending. But alas, again, because gynocentrism and because worship of women aren't expected to be the ones to do the propositioning, because that would imply that there was something they needed to do in order to get the things they want.
It will. Hey, and then the thing is, dude, that probably will never exist in our lifetime, or maybe in lifetimes after us. But you can lead by example and say, you know what, I'm gonna do that. So at least lead by example, because don't worry about what's considered the thing. I don't worry about that, because as a friend of mine once said,
I can't worry about that. If I don't ask, I don't get.
Yeah, see. Well, that's good you have that outlook. But as I've said to many people in the chat, remember this: once you don't go in style, you never ever worry about going out of style.
Thank you so much, Crazy Cat Guy, for the $10. Crazy Cat Guy tips $10. Says, "Here's some cheddar for whatever. Early day tomorrow. I won't be able to watch the whole stream, but I will watch the remainder of the playback tomorrow. Thanks for keeping the streams going while Comix recovers." And yes, God bless Comix. Very, very, very happy and humbled to be able to do this in his stead while he is recovering. And man, I'll tell you what, I had some of the greatest times of my life going out in clubs, and man, probably early 90s, just out of high school. Dude, it was amazing. Like summer of 93, best summer ever for me. Back then I was like probably like 40 pounds lighter, and I was riding a crotch rocket. So, I was swimming in it.
All right. But I got to add something, Drew. I mean, between Shellback and Loki's comments, I'll start Loki's comments first. And if you're interested, let it be known. I mean, if you feel comfortable where you're not going to get, sued or Me Too'd or whatever, go for it, man. Shoot the shot.
This is the problem. Because if at any point that woman retracts consent she gave to the sex she had yesterday,
here's the other comic that is diametrically opposed to that is Shellbacks. We're in the age of consent videos. That's actually become a thing, and that's the scary part, is that he's right. I've heard of this.
Yeah.
And that is what is now taken for a man to cover his ass. Now a man needs to prove himself, like to the world. So in case this does happen, they
so
have
glad I don't
literal
like
receipts.
women in this.
You have a good being gay, dude. Stay gay.
Loki, my friend, you are 100% right, man. Shoot that shot, dude. Shoot that shot.
Darius.
That's what I'm saying. But Darius is on fire. I love it. When did this turn into the art of love with your host, Supreme Lover, the Authentic Lover, and 32 Flavors of Love?
Oh, don't look for advice from me, man. Trust me. When I was in high school, girls avoided me like I was. They probably looked at me and they thought I was the coronavirus back then. So don't worry, dude. I am not who to go to for advice, and not much changed there now.
Yeah, and I will second Nick Weiser's point because I'm still a virgin because I actually want a long-term stable relationship, not hookup culture. So
you know what?
The long and the short of that.
Hail to you, sir. Hail to you. A Day Outlaw says, a guy spent too much time in front of a screen instead of faces. The subtle nuances of interpersonal communication is lost on millennials and Zoomers. And, well, mainly a lot of Zoomers.
Men and women in a nutshell, bro.
And listen, the thing here to remember, folks, is we're back to where, at least in a lot of states, we can go and get out and talk to people again. And I encourage everyone to be able to just go out, man, enjoy the sunshine, get that sunshine, because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel better. Go for that walk. Instead of driving, if you live near the coffee shop that you go and get your coffee at, man, walk over there, sit down, BS with people, man. That is the essence of it. And that's what's so important. And people need to get into human interaction more. And that's a problem. We've given social media so much power because of the fact that people got lazy and they got soft and they empowered social media way past what its mandate really is.
Well, it's also because a lot of people were introverts and didn't really fit anywhere in the previous system. And
I understand that.
In the internet and so forth.
I understand that but in the internet, it could be, you can essentially, in some ways, be whatever you want to be, because we've seen that happen with the whole recent events, in which we won't discuss, but people know of in the community. We've seen that happen exactly that way. But nothing can replace human interaction.
Yes.
And shout out to Godzillionaire. Dude, this comment made me crack the hell up. At Pearnet, I thought Drew's pickup line was, "Did someone order the Supreme?" Oh my God, that is best. Rob Altus, I see that you came in here. Hail to you, sir. Great to see you, Rob. Man, chat is just does not ever disappoint. 32 looks like the boyfriend playing Skyrim when you go back to his apartment.
Oh, we got some flavors coming up. Now that he said that, now we got the flavors. Got a 70s rock fan and red shirt. Got some flavors to talk about.
Being an Aspergian, social interaction is overrated. LOL. I joke with others that I'm not antisocial. I'm selectively social. Yeah, and listen.
Amen. Yeah.
It isn't for everybody. As we correctly pointed out, there are people that are introverted and have legitimate issues communicating. They don't necessarily know how to put thoughts to words in the conversational sense, and they do much better with typing or things of that nature. And I completely understand that. That's not lost on me. But I'm saying human interaction, it is good, and it does make you feel better. to a large degree. Now,
if you can find humans that are worth tolerating in your general area, which is another part of the problem.
well, yeah, that too. My whole theory on the mask thing was they wanted to dehumanize us, not being able to see faces, smiles, etc. Yeah, and that again, Godzillionaire, that plays into the whole issue with making it easier to control the population. Remember when there's a mass outbreak of depression and desperation and violence and negative emotion feeling all over the place. Well, what do you get out of that? Well, let's see. If you happen to be one of these people that advocates for population control, you're in the 1% club, you're up there following this agenda, well, then that does the work for you, because you know that people are going to be killing each other. They're going to be taking their own lives, and you've got built-in population control right there.
See, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure they realized quite what they were unleashing when they did this. I'm not so sure they knew about the depression and the violence, because the thing is, they generally view people as these docile things that are easily controlled and easily manipulated anyway. So I'm wondering how much they were surprised when people began to act autonomously by, for example, being violent or taking their own lives, because that whatever you may think of suicide, it does take a spine to do it, because otherwise you wouldn't be brave enough to actually do the thing that you need to do to. But so yeah, I wonder to what extent they knew what they were. They might have had some inclining, but I don't think it was. I don't think they were expecting it to be quite as severe as it ultimately ended up, which is kind of hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to say definitely thank you to 70s Rock Fan. Said he sent a PayPal, and then he said that he also tipped $10. Said, not sure you got the PayPal, buddy, but wanted to say thanks for hosting and doing such a great job. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated, 70s Rock Fan. You are an awesome individual. But yeah, the thing with that we have to remember is there's a lot of our fellow human beings out there that went through absolute hell with the pandemic and the restrictions and the whole 9 yards, and it did drive people to suicide. It did drive people to
divorce, abuse.
Yep.
Yeah, riots, of course, protests, whatever you want to call it, burning buildings down.
As a personal example, it ruined my first relationship. I was in a relationship with a guy for a year, but we couldn't actually meet up because we met towards the beginning of the lockdowns, and we never actually got to meet up because of all the restrictions.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that, my friend. Yeah. It took a toll, and I am so happy that we are getting back to what we need to be getting back to, and that is just living our lives, being humans again.
Again, we'll be human again.
I mean, that cannot be, that cannot be minimized here. That's the most important thing. And Tiki Doom says we are slowly being vindicated. We are being vindicated because we're going to go through a renaissance, I think, of telling the elites and the government we're going to go back to this, and that is what's so important, because remember, some of the older generation, Gen X and the generation before us, we were the generation of up yours. You know, we didn't take shit. We tweaked with authority. We loved it. We loved to fuck with authority.
Now we're the ultimate complicit generation.
And
well, I think part of it is they sold us, and maybe this is just an outsider observation because of course I'm very late millennial, but it seemed like your guys' generation was sold the idea of nihilism and cynicism as a part of growing up, like, you know, the concept of needing to put away childish things. And it seems like you guys were sold this whole, you know, suck it up, don't complain, don't rock the boat as a part of growing up. And that's one of the things that for as many times a day I want to beat every single member of my generation to a pulp. There is one thing that I like about millennials, which is we don't subscribe to that whole giving up as a part of growing up concept that seems to have really infected a large part of Gen X and the generation before. This idea of you have to grow up and be realistic, and realistic means nihilistic because we say so, because nothing in reality is worthwhile, and you just need to grow up and accept that. Or this idea of cynicism and nihilism as intellectually defensible positions, which still exists in academia, and I freaking hate with a passion that burns like 1,000 suns.
Right. Right. I hear that, brother.
Yeah.
I hear that. There you go. I'm just waiting for you to see that. This dude's 70s is killing it tonight with these comments. He was great on yelling at Park Cars Monday. We had him on as a guest.
Man.
And 70s is awesome. Now here he is killing the comments.
Tony Fauci in his new band RNA Speedwagon and their #1 hit, I'm gonna keep on vaccinating you. Wow, that is just great. Keely Chow, what's going on? Hail to you, man. Oh God, that was perfect.
It really was.
A billionaire said the only saving grace of this woke culture nonsense is that most of them won't be able to reproduce.
That's true. They're all against having children.
They're sterilizing themselves too. So there you go.
And by the way, guys, if you really want to fix the world, reproduce. If you think you have anything to offer the world or ever have, reproduce, because otherwise it's going to be a slow crawl towards idiocracy, and we're all going to be doomed.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I will gladly do that if a woman like sends me a message or whatever, or I meet
of course, obviously,
I meet some gal out in public that's like, hey, let's rock a kid, man. I'll be like,
okay,
Drew.
Right.
Hey, Drew.
If at all possible,
porta potty.
That's what I should have said.
Hey, I got this new project I want to do. It's called Make a Kid.
Hey, Drew, want to come to the porta potty, get your bottle of Jack Daniels, and do some Boston pancake? Don't look that up, by the way. Don't look up Boston pancake.
Man, if some chick came to me in that tone of voice, man, I don't know, brother. I'd be like running the other way. Logie says, as a Gen Xer, we didn't give an F what anyone thought, especially authority, and to see censorship running rampant, that's everything we fought against.
Yeah.
A shit show now. Yeah, bro, I agree with you. Mark D with the C, what's up?
Woo!
Darian. make kids on the exit. Oh man. Hey Dexy, how you doing? Oh man. Oh, this is that makes it.
Who would have thought this year would turn in a stream about love and dating? But here we are.
Yeah, well, no, but we got into very
Fauci.
we got into very humanist issues, and I don't
Yeah.
think that that's ever a bad thing, because as people, we are human. We have our human nature. We're going to talk about it, and it's important to talk about it and get it out there, because the most noble cause is knowledge and understanding your humanity.
Yeah.
Is
Know
a good start
thyself.
of that. Yeah, and it and oh man, Stone Cold Jeremy had just a great comment right now. At Loki, woke culture took Rage Against the Machine and turned it into Rage on behalf of the
yeah.
machine. Yeah,
No duh. They are
perfect.
they are the machine. Once again, as I said earlier, their
Mhm.
whole belief system
Yeah.
they're at one point in time, they actually, I would say, I mean, whether they actually rage against it as far as making money is debatable, but at least as far as ideology wise, they were against Rage Against the Machine. But nowadays, their whole ideology is 100% on par with it, and it's not even close.
Because the Gen Xers and the generation before Gen Xers were sold this idea of giving up is growing up.
Mhm.
And meanwhile, the millennials were raised on movies like Dead Poet Society and Patch Adams. And the thing about the current social justice left is they don't realize they won back in the 90s.
Well,
They won. They got their way.
Well-
15 years ahead?
well,
20 years ahead?
listen, I was I always tell people, like, I'm prepared for when the next, for when the actual revolution comes. When it's not a civil war, it's going to be a revolution. And when the revolution comes, I'm prepared because I saw Red Dawn, the original.
You say you want a revolution.
So I saw Red Dawn. So God bless Patrick Swayze, and rest in peace, brother, and Emilio Estevez. Man, Red Dawn is a classic, and the other thing that prepared me for now. Rest in peace, Roddy Piper. They Live.
Great movie. Love that movie. I was a late bloomer to They Live. I didn't see that until
Wolverine.
a few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Consume.
They
Obey.
live. Yeah, They Live is awesome, and honestly, I love the idea that because a lot of these people like the same sorts of movies, but they completely invert the moral magnetic poles, if you want to call them that, and they see again because these people genuinely believe it's still 1992 and the Satanic Panic is still going on and shit.
Yeah.
They still believe that somewhere up the ladder is this traditionalistic cabal, they call it the patriarchy, but basically what it amounts to is the town council in Footloose, or the teachers in Dead Poet Society who aren't Robin Williams' character.
Nowadays their anthem is nothing more than a mere phantom.
Yeah, because again, the ironic thing is, back in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the left actually had a point, because traditionalism and family values, quote unquote, was going too far, was being authoritarian. We had the Red Scare, we had the Satanic Panic, and so on.
Yeah, I remember.
But they don't. But the thing is, they won, and they don't realize they won, so they're still fighting as though the traditionalists, the Red Scarers, the Satanic Panickers are going to come any day now and shut them all down. That's how they can convince themselves that somehow they are not the establishment, even though every corporation, A, supports them, B, has a diversity officer somewhere in the human resources and PR departments, and C, they own literally every institution in academia.
Dexy with the great comment. Love it, Dex. I love it. Oh man. The beautiful thing though about growing up on those types of movies, there was messaging. There were things that did prepare you for what is going on now, and I'm even more appreciative to those types of movies, and also to stuff like 1984 and understanding, because now it's happening around me, and I could take the lessons learned from seeing or reading and know exactly how to respond.
Yeah,
You know?
the old joke at this point is 1984 was supposed to be a warning, not an instruction manual. But the ironic thing is, I don't think most of the people, and there may be obvious exceptions, but I don't think most of the people who are bringing us into Orwell's nightmare are aware that that's what they're doing. I think it has to do with this pole switch that they do in their own heads. They still think that they're the rebellious ones, so any power they must be fighting against must be the bad guys.
Hey, Stone Cold Jeremy, there. By the way, there was a reboot of Red Dawn. It wasn't nearly as good as the original, but I will say that it was not terrible, but it was not nearly as good as the original. Chris Hemsworth is in the reboot, and so is Adrian Palicki. And I'm a fan of Adrian Palicki, so I'm not going to hate on it 100%, but it's not nearly as good as the original. The original is irreplaceable.
Yes, I haven't seen it. I have not.
Nick, you have not seen the original Red Dawn?
Okay, time to strap him to a chair and open his eyes like in A Clockwork Orange. Ludovico technique time.
Bro.
Oh, I've seen They Live. I don't like A Clockwork Orange, but I haven't seen Red Dawn. Or maybe I have. I just don't remember. But to my knowledge, I'm going to say no.
Again, this is why we should strap into the chair and start the Ludovico technique.
All right, we need to one of these days sit down, and I'll try to figure a way to do it. Whether we could do it in my Discord or do something that way, where we could do a watch party. We can invite some of the chat. And
the education of Nick Weiser.
And we will have you there, Nick Weiser. And
I'm going to re-education camp, guys.
No, and we will watch that movie together with you, because it's a classic. It really is, and it's good.
This is bordering on time to turn in your nerd card levels of being uneducated swine.
Damn, Mark D with the C. Yes, that was another great one as well. Invasion USA. Yes,
I have not seen it. I want to, because it's Chuck Norris, and I hope it's got a bunch of cheesy red liners reeking of toxic masculinity. So yeah, I definitely want to see that one.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah,
we need to just make a list of all the movies you haven't seen that are like pop culture mainstays, and again, like Ludovico technique.
Darius says watch party of at-screen heretics top 5 essential red pill films. There we go.
70s.
Plain and simple.
Oh, that's 70s rock fan.
Sounds like a soft porn movie. The Education of Nick Weiser, a story of a young member of the Dix Division and his unused wing.
Well, I practically am the kid in the Dix Division. I'm the child of the Dix Division. All you older men, all you older seasoned men, and here I am just being the kid. Like, hi guys.
Well, I think I might technically be the youngest one on this stream because I'm 25, but I'm.
Oh, you're 25.
I'm an old soul, is what I've always been told. So
okay, you and I are the babies. There we go. I got some.
Oh man,
well, I'm in between you guys, right?
Yeah,
I'm 33.
No kidding on that, Scott Jennings. By the way, for those of you that are fans of that movie, I would take Scott Jennings' advice there and that is definitely a movie you want to pick up a physical of if you can. Just because, good God, they put that on TV now. It'll be heavily edited down, and I would not be surprised if that didn't carry a trigger warning.
Uh-huh. Movies that would not be made today, volume 7147.
Yeah, right.
Southern Belle is exactly correct. When Chuck Norris enters a room, all the Wokies cry. They do. Southern Belle, he's a great man. I know that he and his son, oh God, they produced this independent film, and it was and I actually saw it because it was out of their production company. It was oh God, I can't remember the title of it to save my life, but it had to do with the Chinese invading the United States, and what they did was shut down the power grid, and then it was a whole crazy thing, and it depicted this family trying to make it through this invasion, but it was through the Norris family, their production company. So yeah, it wasn't definitely not a mainstream movie, but listen, Chuck Norris is a great American. He's not.
Yeah.
He is definitely not a woke person.
Nope.
He may not state it publicly, but he is not a woke person.
Yeah.
So,
And here thus concludes the blowing Chuck Norris portion of the live stream.
Yeah, exactly. But we're closing in on about 20 minutes before the hour of 2 a.m. here in Ohio. I know that I've got to get some rest. I actually have to get up in the morning and take Mom to one of her follow-up doctor appointments. So I have to bid everyone farewell this evening, but I want to say thank you. Huge thank you to the chat. You guys were great. The participation, as always, was on point. The laughs were plentiful. You ladies and gentlemen are awesome. You really are. And from the bottom of my heart, all the love in the world to you. Thank you so much for the shout outs, for those that decided to throw a few bucks into the donation pot. Appreciate you so much. And I'm just thankful for everyone for being here. Also, want to say thanks to Authenticator, to Nick, to Tommy, all the people that I did send links out to. Thank you. Even if you couldn't make it this evening, thank you for letting me know. And I'll go around and I'll let these guys talk about themselves, starting with the Authenticator.
All right. Hello, folks. I am Dalton Mortimer. I am the Authenticator. I am an expert in all things weird, basically. I am a practicing occultist. I've been a practicing occultist for my entire adult life. On my channel, which is the Authenticator, I talk about pop culture. I talk about geekery. I talk about magic and the occult. The intersection thereof is often on offer. Talk about general philosophy. Talk about politics a little bit. But basically, if it's a weird subject matter that you wouldn't think anyone in their right mind would know about, I know about it. Don't ask me why. It's just sort of what I am here to do, apparently. Anyway, other than stuff on my channel, which no one ever actually seems to watch, and yes, I'm aware I need to actually produce more content and more often. I'm working on it. It's a pain in the ass because life keeps getting in the way. The last video I made was a theory video regarding WandaVision and the origins of Agatha Harkness. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please find your way over there and watch the backlog. I've got several playlists that's just all the videos I've done, all the guest appearances I've done on other people's channels, and the podcast I do every week with my friend the Brainstormer Pop Culture, where we talk about the intersection of politics and geekery and why the fresh hell of that whole situation needs to fucking knock it off already. You can find me on Twitter at the Authenticator, spelled without a U because Twitter is stupid and won't give me enough characters for the handle. You can find me just about everywhere else at the Authenticator, spelled normally. I'm working on getting a Odyssey channel, and I already have a BitChute, but if it's not auto posting correctly and it's missing videos, that's probably why. Other than that, I will see you guys later, and cheers, guys.
All right, and we're over to 32 flavors of Nick Weiser.
Hi guys. Most of you are subbed to me, but if you somehow aren't, you really should. I like to talk about pizza, to talk about metal, and currently I'm on a phase of toxic masculinity where I'm talking 80s action movies on Tuesday nights. Next week we'll be talking about the awesome Commando, which that 70s rock fan and Mark D with a C on our chat will be talking about next Tuesday. So that's going to be fun, and we're going to be talking a bunch of other crazy movies to come. Maybe it'll be a Chuck Norris down the line. So come check me out. I promise it'll be fun. If you don't like one thing, there'll be another thing that you like. Or you'll come for all the flavors and like all the flavors. And I have a wild toxic man flu that likes to raid my chat too. So anyways, check me out. Drew, thank you for letting me come on here. This has been fun. And I didn't think we'd end up being talk about love and relationships, but somehow we made it fucking entertaining. So this was an absolute pleasure. So, and Authenticator, always great to hear from you as well. So I look forward to doing this again with the both of you whenever and wherever that may be. And to the chat, have a magical evening. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Hey, New Bob Turk. Great to see you.
Goodbye.
You know, guys, I also got to get caught up on some of my content on my channel. I know I was doing some music video reactions, and I need to do a few more because I've had actually some requests. Somebody requested one for Kill Switch Engage. I'm going to have to do one for that. I also need to do some more Ginger reactions because apparently people are liking those. So I'm going to have to do a couple of those videos. And then, of course, coming up, I think Tuesday, you guys can catch me probably hosting Rogue Entertainment, the Rogue Squadron on my channel. So make sure that you catch that on Tuesday. But until then, maybe this weekend I might do a pop-up live stream. I get the time. But if not, I hope all of you out there, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a great weekend. And we love you. Thank you. Koalas in the rain. Not.